Coming up on show 738, what are the pros of buying an EV during this time of a pandemic? Well, stick around, we'll tell you more. Plus, we get the lowdown on how Tesla Cam Viewer actually works, Minnesota's clean car proposal, New York legalizing electric personal transport, and why you could be getting your Tesla Model Y third row and rear-wheel drive versions quicker than you possibly imagined. Well, good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. This is the edition for what happened on Saturday, 4th of April. My name is Martyn Lee, and I go through every EV story, so you don't have to. Thank you, as always, to myev.com for helping me make the show. MyEV in the USA is connecting buyers and sellers, and also getting you more knowledge so that when you come to make that decision of either buying or selling, you know everything you need to know. Check out their research section for more. Yesterday on the podcast, I told you about the Tesla Cam Viewer. So for the Sentry mode and also Tesla Cam, there is now an ability to play back that video recorded actually inside the car rather than having to dump it off to a USB and go into your laptop or computer and play it back. Well, Twitter user Greentheonly, who's always pretty good at delving into the code and bringing us news about Teslas, says you get to see all 4 recorded cams in real time and select which one is maximised. When parked, you press the camera icon to select the player. You get to select from a list of Sentry, dashcam or both. I suspect this is limited to MCU2 and Model 3s, but no MCU1 to test this on, so we'll wait and see. And I think it's still in beta as well, so might not even be out there in the real world with most people listening to this podcast who own Teslas. But I like it. The interface looks good, and it's an upgrade that I think many people wanted, but I think they've implemented it in a way that is even better than people could have imagined or wanted. So the screen on the screen, the main image, which fills most of the screen, is the camera that you've selected. But then in 4 corners of the screen, like a little mini picture-in-picture, are the other cameras available. And you can push those, and it will then make that image the main big one filling most of the screen. And again, looks easy to delete clips because there's a little trash can icon at the bottom. Again, not that I've used it, but just looking at the screen grabs here. And it's a fantastic... You're still going to want to export this to USB and save the video if there's some footage that you want. But it looks like a fantastic way of, if you've got some Sentry Cam alerts of coming back to the car, flicking through, think, oh, that's a false alarm, don't need it, don't need to worry. Okay, let's move on. And plans to adopt the California vehicle emission standards in Minnesota hit a bump in the road yesterday on the 3rd of April. The State Pollution Control Agency had aimed to publish an official notice of its intent to adopt the Clean Cars of Minnesota program this month, opening a new public comment period, but it announced yesterday because of coronavirus and stay-at-home orders, they're pushing back the date, says postbulletin.com. Well, the announcement comes just days after the US Department of Environmental Protection announced it was effectively rolling back emissions guidelines which were established during Obama's administration. Minnesota's Clean Car program was proposed last year to circumvent any such rollback happening in the future. Well, it has happened. So, when Minnesota get to pass and adopt this new law, it will require manufacturers to deliver cars for sale in Minnesota that meet stricter emissions guidelines, the ones that were first established in California. The big battle over emissions in the US continues. When New York has legalized electric forms of personal transport, I believe the buzzword is personal mobility, my friends. New York State Legislature on Thursday approved Andrew Cuomo's policy proposal to legalize e-bikes and e-scooters statewide. Part of the new fiscal year budget bill. Well, the legislative chambers are continuing to debate the budget bill yesterday before it was finalized, according to localsyr.com. And Smart City's website says that scooters which have been allowed are going to be capped at 15 miles an hour. And there's going to be 3 classes of electric e-bike: pedal assisted with no throttle, throttle assisted with a maximum speed of 20, and throttle powered with a max speed of 25. Riders of that last class of e-bike do have to wear a helmet by law in New York City. But fabulous news. Other places around the world are getting this sorted because some of the biggest, like Paris is one of the big places where the little electric scooters really took off. I mean, they're not at the moment. I mean, the businesses like Lime are really suffering because stay-at-home orders. However, Places like, well, here, for instance, it's you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to ride electric scooters on the public highway. Can't ride them on pavements, can't ride them on roads. Therefore, you can't ride them anywhere. If you're a car driver, you'll even get your license with points added. And if not, you'll get a fine. And so I know the UK is looking at this as well, but places just need to look at somewhere like New York that's passed these laws, run the ruler over them to go, does it make sense, and get them passed. Because in so many cases, last mile things, like when I go into London, even though I'm only going to Richmond, it would really, really help me if I can, that last mile of my journey, I do the first 90 miles. Yes, I do commute up from Dorset. Like the first 90 miles are done just at motorway speeds, just set cruise control and go. Right? And then that last mile or two is hellish. Just takes 30, 45 minutes and you're like, London traffic. If I could park further out, somewhere like Twickenham, a bit further, somewhere like, I don't know, like Teddington, or just further outside, maybe off the M3, and somewhere that I could get an e-bike or an e-scooter to do that last mile or two, it would be perfect. And there's so many people, I'm sure, in the same boat, and I don't mind, apart from when it's tipping down with rain, sticking something in the boot of the car and getting it out, and then doing that, maybe park cheaper as well outside of town. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk Tesla. They are prepping, it seems, Model Y configurations, which you didn't think were coming out for a very long time, because that's what they told us. It appears Tesla's getting set up to begin deliveries of the less expensive rear-wheel drive Model Y, and people who order the Model Y with the optional third row, if you have, I don't know, children under, they're small seats, aren't they? I mean, they've got to be very, very young kids that you want to put on that third row. I mean, they are not adult seats, in case you hear me saying third row. This is not Model X, by the way. This is more like the jump seats, which was in the original Model S. You could get that configuration with the rear-facing jump seats. People who did order the third row are receiving emails asking for details so that the delivery process can be finalised, says Inside EVs. Well, some reservation holders who ordered the rear-wheel drive Model Y, the long-range rear-wheel drive, they've now been asked to provide Tesla with their payment information and trade-in details. One of the friends and contributors of Inside EVs, Dan Zarilla, has a reservation for a Model Y, long-range rear-wheel drive, with the optional third row, and he's had this email. So we'll see where it ends up. We'll see how quickly they do start to ship these cars. So, the pros of buying a new EV during a pandemic. The website ride.tech has had a look at this, and they've kind of got three big reasons, actually, where, you know what, during this time, it might not be the worst idea, if you've been mulling over a purchase for a long time, to actually seriously consider it. Well, COVID-19 has caused a severe economic slowdown, and to boost spending, the Federal Reserve has made cuts to the Fed funds rate. The emergency interest rate reduction is the largest ever in the Fed's history. That means, this rate cut means that if you plan on financing an EV, you may be able to get secure your car loan with very low interest. Low interest rates can make your car loan more affordable and save you money over the long haul. There's great deals around. COVID-19 concerns have made many people reluctant to venture into public spaces, and even car dealerships are off limits because of the stay-at-home orders. And now that's causing a sudden drop in car sales in some places, and so dealers aren't taking it lying down. Dealers are pretty good at knowing how to sell cars, and so many have introduced attractive either finance options, maybe some bargains, maybe some price reductions, maybe some extra options to woo buyers. Because of these deals, it's worth looking around. You might find them, and you might find a new EV that you've had on your eye on for a while, and you're thinking, you know what? Now's the time to go for it. And alternatively, there are those that are doing, some dealerships are doing meetings with salespeople over Google Hangouts or Zoom calls. They're doing sort of Ask Me Anything sessions. They're doing a lot of remote stuff, and it's really interesting how trade and business has slowed down in some areas, but not in others. Had some really good initiatives coming from car dealers for people who, like, this is just a pause button we're pressing, and it's really interesting. And the other thing as well is deferred financing. Many shoppers are skittish about committing to an EV purchase when it's possible that COVID-19 could cause a reduction in salary and, even worse for some people. Now, to address that, many automakers are providing new car buyers with financing deals that do allow them to defer payments. Ford announced that its financing unit is offering new car buyers the option of deferred payments for 90 days. Nissan doing the same. Hyundai said it's going to defer payment on new vehicles by 90 days and providing up to 6 months of payment relief for customers if you do lose your job during COVID-19. Well, 3 possible reasons why. Maybe if you thought, well, this whole thing means I can't buy a car or I shouldn't be bothered looking. Actually, at least in the US, there are some reasons. Have you got any other reasons that you can think of that I might not have mentioned? Email me anytime. Address is hello@evnewsdaily.com. So, let's talk about situations changing, and Tesla is cutting contractors from its US car and battery plants. CNBC reporting on Friday, citing workers and a contract staffing agency. According to the New York Times today, Balance Staffing told workers that they would stay on the agency's books and were able to find, and if they wanted to, they could find other work via their businesses. But according to the report, they added that contractors hired with other temporary agencies had also received similar notices. One of the notes, emails, claims to say, "It is with my deepest regret that I must inform you that the Tesla factory shutdown has been extended due to COVID-19. As a result, Tesla has requested to end all contract assignments effectively immediately." Balance Staffing are a workforce management company, and they said in a memo, which CNBC said they had sight of. The coronavirus impact continues to be felt. Question of the week this week, if you want to email me in, I'll read it out on Sunday's podcast. With the VW ID3 facing more software delays. They're making a lot of the cars actually, but then they're parking them up because the software isn't ready. So when the software engineers have caught up, they'll have to go round them all and do a Windows update. I'm sure it's more complicated than that. So if you want to send me your thoughts on this, how hard should we be on the legacy automakers who for so long were saying, you wait till we start making EVs, we'll show the rest how it's done, and then now they are? It's not so easy. Or should we give them a break? Because it's not easy to do. You can email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com, or leave a comment on the YouTube show. There are 238 patrons of the podcast, and your generosity keeps me going. Thank you very much to my premium partners of the podcast. That'll be you, Phil Roberts of Electric Future. That's you, Brad Crosby. That's you, Avid Technology. And Bright Smith for Clean Tech Talent. And Porsche of the Village Cincinnati. And Audi of Cincinnati East. If you want to get any of the previous shows, there are 737 in the archive. And if you can take a moment to leave a little rating and a review, little star rating on Apple Podcasts, it helps grow the show. Have a wonderful day, whatever you're doing over the weekend. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.